Hi guys, it's Saturday morning here, and I'm sitting here in my dressing gown. I haven't showered, I have bed hair, I'm drinking my second cup of chai turmeric latte, and it's very pleasant. And outside in the garden there's a group of magpies. They're so pretty, they've got such a melodic sound. It's a real crow gathering, they all get together, but instead of quack, 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 it's more like bloop, 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 bloop. Keep on meaning to go outside, and it's nothing at all like bloop, 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 but one day maybe I'll tape it. Anyway, so the last few days I have had on my mind how very, very dangerous and detrimental all emotions are. All emotions. So I want to just talk about that a little bit this morning because I'm in my dressing gown and I have bed hair. So obviously I need to talk about emotions. It's how we roll, guys. It's how we roll. So yesterday I was listening to Punadamo. He gives these really great live streams once a week where he talks about some aspect of the Buddhist Dharma. And yesterday he was talking about right effort and other stuff. I can't remember all the things, but right effort. And he was talking about how there's two different types of energy. I think he was saying that there's this sort of zooty, get you up and get going and get everything happen. And then there's this more quiet, meditative energy. And that the two energies are of different use when you're in different states. So when you're all riled up and intense, you want to have calming energy. And when you're all apathetic and nothing's happening, you want to get yourself going. And he talked also about the things that interfere with energy are overeating and oversleeping. I think it's basically oversleeping. And one of the things that he said about sleep is that when you wake up in the morning, instead of lying there and dozing and going in and out of sleep and putting off getting up, when you wake up, get out of bed and go and do stuff. Well, I woke up at 5:30 after about 4 or 5 hours sleep, and I thought I'll jump up and do things. But no. Sanity prevailed because today it is the day that was the week that was with Vince at midnight. And it's interesting, it's become a little sort of ritual that Vince and I do. We get together and we talk about the week that just went at midnight on Saturday. It's sort of almost clearing the palate, but it's been very, very threatening for me because for about 20 years, I haven't paid any attention, maybe more, maybe 30. I haven't paid any attention whatsoever to the news. Don't know if whatsoever, but at different times, less so ever than other times. So I'm completely out of touch. And 20 years ago when I came to New Zealand and tried to understand their politics and their system, it was just so beyond me, so beyond the place where I was in my life, and so beyond my ability to change that fast from being a country, well, not a country, but having been in a country where everything that happened was structured around the fact that we were fighting. And both sides thought that they were fighting for their country. Both sides thought that they were overcoming an evil regime, which was the other side. The thing that was so important to me was that we revered our menfolk so much. There was no question back in those days of women being in the army. It it was just the most ridiculous thing. I remember particularly my dad, but probably other soldiers also saying, how are you meant to focus on killing other people when you're so busy worrying about trying to protect the women that are in your ranks? And I thought, it's amazing how we put our men into no-win situations. It reminds me of the story called The Three Feathers, I think it was. Was it The Three Feathers or The Three White Feathers or something? It was all these fellows who get together before the war, and they're having this wonderful Second World War. They're having this nice time and a picnic, and they're all happy and in love. And I don't know how the story goes, but somehow there's a conversation about the war or whatever, and three of the guys go and enlist and go and fight on the front. And the one guy says, nah, I'm not going to do this. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in killing. I'm not going to get involved in something that I think is destructive and pointless. And so the girlfriends of the other guys each sent him a white feather, which, well, that sort of thing isn't done anymore, but it was a terrible, terrible insult, calling him a coward and maligning him in a terrible way. And he felt compelled, I suppose, to prove them wrong and to prove that he was not cowardly. He was convicted of his way. So he went into the war and he did 3 wonderful acts of bravery, and every time he did something, he sent one of the feathers back. And then he got killed. And I remember Dad saying how terrible it is for women to drive men into acts of war and violence with their glorifying. Gosh, I don't quite know why I've got here, but yes, I know what it was. That was the week that was, talking about politics, looking at current affairs, my place of coming from a place where women had this power over men to drive them to their deaths with cruel and unthought through ideas. Then I came to New Zealand and I really was knocked for six, apart from just being in a terribly abusive relationship. I sent my 2 children over to America to be with my parents to try and save them, and in fact did save them. Had my 2 youngest children with me, living through this awfulness, and didn't save them. And then arriving in this socialist country where one of the very first things that happened was listening to the radio, there was this advert that came on for a local hardware shop. Hardware shops are big here. Oh, I hate it when my phone goes bing, 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 bing all the time. So irritating when I'm talking. Okay, there we go. Fix that. Right. One of the first things that happened politically to me when I got to New Zealand was I was listening to this radio thing, and there was this advert that came on, and it said something along the lines of, "Women, you should come in and get all your DIY stuff here and fix your house, because you know that your husband's just going to talk about it forever and never get round to doing any of those things. So just take control and do your own stuff." And I was horrified. Absolutely horrified. It's great for women to go and do stuff that they want to do, and if they want to do DIY, well, I think that's crazy, but you're welcome. But to start that off by saying, oh, your husband's so useless. I mean, what the actual fuck? So, there we go. For the last 20 years of being in New Zealand, I've been on the back foot because of thinking that this way of behaving towards men is just so destructive and vicious and cruel and should not happen. So I'm a fish out of water here. And so, because of that, as I do, I agreed to do a public current affairs show with Vince. Took me way out of my comfort zone. Way. Like from the beach right into the middle of the desert. But I'm getting used to it now. And I've dribbled on. The thing that I want to say is that all of these things coming together and all of the stuff happening in my life, Punadamo and energy and politics and Saturday and earthquakes and rain and freezing snow. I didn't know that people lived in such terrible freezing snow. I thought that when I was in -4, I was in great purgatory of ice. But people go to minus a lot less than 4. It's horrifying for me. Anyway. Right, so the upshot of it is that here I am sitting with bed hair in my gown and thinking about the fact that people talk about the British and say that they're stiff upper lip and they're emotionally repressed. They talk about Charles III and William and Harry and all this great scandal of the establishment versus the commoners. And all my life I've listened to these stories about how emotionally repressed the British are. And of course the British are my people. And how important it is for us to express our feelings. Well, I've been doing that for my adult life, trying to express my feelings. And 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with having post-traumatic stress disorder. And then later on, that was sort of modified. I suppose I got on top of it. And so the diagnosis, if you like, was changed to borderline personality disorder, which is it's a result of abuse. And it's when a person ends up living between psychosis and neurosis. So psychosis is letting go of reality and living in some sort of fantasy world of denial. And neurosis is where everything in the world is just horrendous for you and anxiety provoking and you can't get on with it. And so that's been very, very shameful for me. Very, very, very shameful. And I've tried to deal with it for 20 years. And now I'm using Buddhism and meditation skills. Maybe Buddhist skills and meditation practice, in order to try and sort my mind out. But the thing that I have been realizing more than anything is that it's not my mind that's the problem. Yes, there are problems in my mind. And yes, there is a lot of negative stuff that I have to overcome. But more than any of those things is that there are emotions in my mind. There are emotions that spiral up into great joy and happiness and enthusiasm, and I'm going to do this and that. And then I don't do it because it's unrealistic, because it's an emotion. So then I crash down into great despair and depths of hideous, and I hate myself and I'm so useless. I live in this state of emotional turmoil. And in all my meditation, the thing that I have found the best of everything is becoming rational, becoming able to concentrate. You can't concentrate when you're emotional. Let me tell you, you don't concentrate. You don't think. Your brain flits around. All these skills, these mind skills, are not really skills of the mind as much as they are skills of controlling the emotions. Because once you control the emotions, the mind works. And people talk about negative things come up in the mind. Now, negative things don't come up in the mind. Negative emotions come up in the mind. So here I am, Saturday, the 4th of February, 2023, and I'm going on the record to say that the last 50 years of telling people to express their emotions has been very detrimental to our civilization, to our culture, to our mental health, to our family coherence, to our children's futures, to the world. It's important to be in control of yourself, which means to be in control of your emotions, which means to know that you have emotions and not allow those emotions to do anything or to influence you in any way. There we go. That is my profound and world-changing point of view. Oh, whoops, there's another really important thing, an important marker. It is now 9 o'clock in the morning. Like it's 1 minute to 9. But if I wait here long enough, it will be 9 o'clock. And then I'll be able to add that. The 4th of February, 2023, 9 a.m. Did it. Awesome. Have a wonderful day, guys. Love you all. Bye.